bachelor at the moment. Gianty's headed off to Auckland. Her father's birthday is happening in a few days, so like that on the 20th, I think it is. So yeah, they're all together for the birthday celebrations. 85 years old, her father will be. Yeah, getting on. So yeah, she took off yesterday, and
you've got to be there because there's still people coming through. Is that right?
Yeah. And also the dog to look after and the farm to look after.
Yeah.
Keep the place secure and everything. You've got to have local Kshatriya. I'm all in one. Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahmana, everything all wrapped. Sudra. Main thing is Sudra. But yeah, all wrapped into one. Actually, Vaishnava means prepared to do anything for Krishna, whatever Krishna wants. Krishna wants you to clean the toilets, you do that. Krishna wants you to give a class, you do that. Krishna wants you to give protection to whatever, the devotees. Krishna wants you to grow food, whatever it is, do all the varnas, all the occupations. That's surrender, whatever Krishna wants, not just what you like to do. We might like to do just one thing, but whatever Krishna wants us to do, that's what we do. Om Jnana-Tamandasya Granjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmalatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. I was born the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master has kindly opened my eyes with the shining torchlight transcendent knowledge. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances to his lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So yeah, recently we had Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day. That was recently. Comes a few days every year after Govardhan Puja. Prabhupada left in 1977, just after Govardhan Puja, a few days after. Yes.
Can I just ask, this is a bit off topic, but Mahasevak was telling me today that they do this special fasting for Bhishma
Panchaka.
Yeah, I said, I've never heard of it before, and he said, how could you have never heard of it before? And I said, no, I just never knew people did it. Like I didn't know what it was, and he sort of explained to me the different types of fasting and things that they do. Like, do you do that?
No, I've never done that. Prabhupada never talked about that. He never practiced that himself or encouraged anyone else to do it. It's quite trendy in ISKCON today, but there's a lot of things that are trendy in ISKCON today that Prabhupada didn't do anything about. So yeah, we don't have to get involved with everything. But yeah, I mean, it's related to Bhishma's passing away. So for the last 5 days of Kartik, starting from Ekadasi, that we've just had Ekadasi. So they start from the Ekadasi, it goes till the full moon. So from the Ekadasi to the full moon, that's 5 days. They do different fasting, like you mentioned. And that's to do with also they take the 5 products from the cow on those 5 days.
Yeah, you were saying that.
Yeah, one day they take cow urine, one day they take cow dung.
Yeah.
One day they take milk, one day ghee, one day yogurt, I think. So that's the 5 products. That's called Panchagavya. Panchagavya, so the 5 products from the cow. Ghee, milk, yogurt, and cow urine and cow dung. Yeah, every day they take one of those items like that. And then they have a big feast after it's all over, all the fasting.
Is it something that they do like more in India than...
Yeah, it's mainly in India. I mean, we've never did that at all in Auckland. When I joined in Auckland, no, I don't think anyone did that I know of. But it's a big thing in India. Like if you go to Vrindavan Temple, the brahmacharis do it. In Mayapur, the brahmacharis do it. So especially for the brahmacharis, they really get into a bit of extra austerities. Yeah. Which, I mean, there's no harm. There's no harm in, brahmacharis doing extra austerities. It's sort of like fun for them. If you're a young man, it's sort of like fun. I'm going to have cow urine today. I'm going to have cow dung today. It's like, it's part of being, a tough young austere man like that. It's a bit of fun for them.
Okay.
But yeah, not promoting that, and Prabhupada's never written that you should do it or anything. But I mean, just in general principles, we should do austerities. But I mean, our main austerities is, you know, we make sure we chant 16 rounds every day and we follow the four regulator principles. I mean, get up early in the morning, you know, like that. So that's probably enough austerities for most people. And of course, no meeting, intoxication, illicit sex and gambling. I mean, that's quite a lot of austerities. If you can manage more than that and drink cow urine and that, then that's okay. But I mean, of course, cow urine is very good for the health. So I actually drank some from one of our cows recently. I was talking to two or three TA people, and I was talking all about the benefits of cow urine, how you can actually drink that and everything. And then the cow I was leaning up against at the time actually peed when I was talking about it. So I stuck my hand out underneath the tail and just drunk it on the spot. I just spontaneously, I wasn't planning. It wasn't a staged event.
How was the taste? How was the taste?
Yeah, it was actually not bad. Actually, the cow urine in Australia is more salty. It's much more salty than my two ladies are not as salty as the Aussie ladies, you know. So and actually the ladies weren't too shocked because I just talked about it, explaining all the things, and then they took it. They took it. They accepted it. They didn't look too shocked when I just drunk the cow. And I told them I wouldn't drink urine from any other species except for the cow, and I wouldn't even drink my own urine. Forget about that. You know, because there are people that drink their own urine. You know, human urine.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Vedas doesn't recommend that. Not recommended.
Why would you
But the
do
Vedas
that?
What's that?
Why would they drink their own urine?
Oh, they say it's good for the health. They say it's good for preventing diseases like cancer and everything like that. It's good for the skin, apparently, blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
But whatever it may be good for, but yeah, it's not very good for the consciousness to be your own urine. But there are therapies. There are therapies that recommend, you know, having human urine. I know some devotees have done it, but yeah, not recommending that either. But yeah, we recommend cow urine is good for many things. Even at Nugakula, I would get contacted by Indians in Sydney for getting cow urine because the person had cancer or something. Person had cancer, so he wanted urine to help with that.
Yeah.
So a lot of Indians know that the health benefits of cow urine. I have some cow urine in the eye drops I take. There's cow urine in there and rose water and different things that are good for the eyes. So yeah, it's very good. So quite a few Ayurvedic medicines may have cow urine in it. There's one ingredient in them, like that. So if you buy it in a bottle, it comes distilled. It's been distilled, so it lasts a long time. Otherwise, if you drink it fresh, it doesn't last very long. A few days in the fridge. Otherwise, you can just drink it straight like that. Yeah, it was. So yeah, I actually did that recently, without planning to do it. It just the cow happened to pee, and it was just talking about it, and then there it is. So okay, I guess that's a sign. I might as well take it. And I'm still alive. I didn't die or anything after I drank the cow urine. I feel pretty good actually. Okay. Let's get into the Bhagavad Gita. Reading from chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge, text number 6. So, yeah, this is a bit of a hard to understand topic for a lot of us. Yeah, these last two verses. Krishna is saying that everything is God, basically, but God's not everything. And so that's a bit of a mind bender. How does that work? Everything is God, but God's not everything. So the last two verses have basically said that he's the source of everything and everything's resting on him. He's maintaining everything, but he's saying that he's not part of the material cosmic.
Prabhupada explained like a king. King cannot be at the same time in every place.
Yeah.
But every department is under his instruction,
Yeah.
but he is in a separate room.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a great example from text number 4 in the purport. Prabhupada says that. And interestingly, Prabhupada mentioned it today in a lecture I was listening to when I was doing some yoga. And he was saying that he gave an interesting example of Ford cars, and that's he probably spoke that example in America, but that's the famous brand of car from America. Henry Ford invented the car, and then his grandson, I think it is, Alfred Ford, he became a devotee known as Ambarish. So Ambarish became a disciple of Prabhupada, the grandson of Henry Ford. But the example, Prabhupada gave a brilliant example. He said, so he's talking about the car, and he said, the car is Ford. Okay, so the car is a Ford car, right? So the car is Ford. But then Prabhupada, it's brilliant the way he said it, and everyone cracked up when he said it. He said, the car is Ford, but Ford is not a car. You get it? Such a good way of explaining the point. The car is Ford, but Ford, Mr. Henry Ford, is not a car. So, Krishna's the house and the car and the body of the animals and the birds and the fish and humans and the earth planet and every planet is all Krishna, but Krishna is not the car and the house and the money and the body and the planet and the birds and the fish and everything. So yeah, everything is Krishna, but Krishna is not everything. Just like the car is Ford, but Ford is not the car. So yeah, really good example. Yeah, it's just brilliant. Prabhupada is just so intelligent in how he presents the philosophy, and in a way that's a very complicated subject matter, difficult subject matter, but he explains it in such an easy way to understand. He's just brilliant. Just brilliant. And that was Prabhupada's wonderful contribution. One of them is that how he explained the elevated, Sanskrit Vedic philosophy in English language. He explained it to us English-speaking people in a way that we can easily understand. It's wonderful. Okay, so we're reading text 6 today. We can read the verse. Yata kasha stito nityam.
Yatha kashta sito nityam.
Vayu savatra mahan.
Vayu sarvagatra mahan.
Tata sarvani bhutani.
Tatha sarvani bhutani.
Matstani tyupadharaya.
Mastyani tu padharaya. Understand that as mighty wind, blowing everywhere, rest always in the sky, all created being rest in me.
So yeah, this is another example Krishna's giving how to understand him in the material world. So just like the wind is everywhere, but the wind is inside the sky. The wind is existing within the sky. So he's comparing himself to the sky. So Krishna's comparing himself to the sky, and everything is his energy, is all existing within him, like the wind is in the sky. So his energy is everywhere, like the wind is everywhere. It's a very windy day here today, actually. So the wind is blowing everywhere. So it's like Krishna's energy is everywhere, but all that energy is existing within him, just like the wind is existing in the sky. So that's a great example. It's a great example. So all created beings rest in me. Okay, Bhakti Mala, do you want to start the purport, please?
Let's get ready. For the ordinary person, it is almost inconceivable how huge the material creation is resting in him.
I'll
It's
just stop
almost,
there. Just hang on a sec. I just while it comes to my mind.
yeah.
This is one of the main problems that people have in accepting that Krishna is God, is they think that the material world, or the whole universe, is so big. How can all of that be within Krishna? Because we hear, you know, Krishna's a little blue boy that plays a flute. Hey, what do you mean? This whole universe is within Krishna, you know, and that's like mind-boggling. It's like inconceivable. So that's what Prabhupada's saying here. For an ordinary person, it is almost inconceivable how the huge material creation is resting in him. So that's why the Mayavadis think God has no form. They think, well, this is so big, the material world, how can it exist within something or someone that has a form? It must be, God must be so great, has no boundaries, no inside and outside and everything like that. So that's one of the reasons why the Mayavadis think that God is formless, because they can't imagine, they can't conceive of how everything so great around us, the mountains and the forests and the sky and everything, can exist from within a person like that. So yeah, this is part of Krishna's inconceivable potencies, that all these vast energies, they're all existing within him and emanating from him. Yeah, so Prabhupada's acknowledging it here, that an ordinary person, it's almost inconceivable. So like, inconceivable means they can't conceive. They can't, their brain can't think how that can work. How is it possible? They can't, it's beyond their imagination, how such a huge material creation can be resting in God, resting in Krishna.
And you're thinking, like, you know, not just our little Earth, but then all the planets in the universe, and the billions of universes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then
yeah.
what's that 1/4 or something of the we're only 1/4 of the material world, isn't that, of the spiritual world or something?
Yeah, the material creation, which is made up of unlimited universes, is 1/4 of his whole creation. So 3/4 is the spiritual world, Vaikuntha, and 1/4 is the material world.
It is inconceivable. Like you can't imagine it, really.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But we should accept that. We should accept that we're not going to be able to understand everything with our teeny brain, because what have we got? A teeny brain, you know. So what do we know, really? I mean, do you even know how your own body works? You know, I mean, Gulshan's playing with his fingers there. You know how your fingernail comes out of your finger? How does and the fingernail's like dead, you know, and how does it come? How does it keep growing out of your finger? You know, where is it coming from? Like that. It's just amazing how everything, that the hair keeps growing out of the head and everything like that, and all the body parts.
You know when the soul leaves the body, fingernail grow up to 12 days.
Is it?
That.
Takes 12 days.
Yes, keep growing that after leaving the soul, leave the body.
Yeah.
And that's what they decorate and things like that. Fingernails keep growing 12 days. So it's like.
So do we understand how any of these things work? No, we don't.
No, like, you know, like simple as, you know, when you eat the food, you got no way you can digest the food. You have to wait, isn't it? And food will digest by itself. Here, just growing by itself. You can't stop growing. Who's that? It's just the way it is, and the nature of the Krishna does that.
Yeah, so just in the same way we just accept that the fingernail and the hair is growing and that without fully understanding how it's working. So we also accept that, you know, there's things we're not going to understand about how the universe, you know, is inside of Krishna and everything like that. And we see that right in the past time with Mother Yashoda. On 2 different occasions, Mother Yashoda looked inside of Krishna's mouth, and what did she see?
She's seen the whole universe.
She saw the whole universe inside of Krishna's mouth.
As well. She's seen herself as well.
Yeah, she saw herself
universe.
looking inside Krishna's mouth, inside of Krishna's mouth, you know, and that just blew every brain cell.
And then she was thinking that somebody did tell on my boy. That's what she thinks.
Yeah. And then Krishna covered over her intelligence again, so that she just thought, oh, this is just my little kid who's just eating mud, you know, so like that. Put her under mire again. So yeah, Krishna's so great, and yet it seems like he's just a little boy, but he's much more than just a little boy. You know, he's unlimited. I was just hearing Prabhupada say today that Krishna is unborn. That's one of the qualities of God, that he has no father. And then Prabhupada started talking about all these bogus people that say they're God. And you can say, if someone says they're God, you ask them, do you have a father? And then he said, if they say yes, that they have a father, he said, you tell them, no, you're not God, you're a dog. You're a dog. So anyone that has a father is not God. God is that person that doesn't have a father. That's God. But then you might say, well, but Krishna has a father. He had Vasudeva and then Nanda Maharaj. But they're just devotees playing the role. They're devotees playing the role. Yeah, that's when he comes to the material world.
But how can they say that Jesus is the Son of God?
Well, everyone's a son of God. Okay. But they say Jesus is the only Son of God. So we disagree with that. We disagree that Jesus is the only Son of God. Everyone's a son of God. And he's the Father. Krishna's the Father of everyone. Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Pranadam. So he's the Pita, he's the Father of everyone. We can look at that 14th chapter, text 4. Krishna says that he's the Father of all living entities. So yeah, he's the father of everyone, but he has no father. And in the material world, when he comes, he accepts some devotees to play a role, but they're just playing the role of his father and mother and so forth. But actually, he has no mother and father. He's unborn. In the Brahma Samhita, it says, Adir Govinda Ishvara what is it? Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. Anadir Govinda Savakarana Karanam. So he's the origin of everything, but he has no origin. That's God. That's Krishna. Okay, can you read that one?
It should be understand all the species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am seed-giving Father.
So yeah, Mother Nature is the mother of the living entities, and Krishna is the father, like that. And how is Krishna the father? That he, by his glance, he is injecting the souls into the material nature. Just like the man injects the semen into his wife, then the man injecting the semen there, and the woman the mother is carrying that child and then giving birth to the child. So Krishna is injecting by his glance, by his eyes, the souls into the prakriti, into the material nature, which is like the mother. And the mother nature is giving birth to the living entities, you know, but the soul is put in there from Krishna, like that. Maya Dakshina Prakriti. We can look at that a bit further on, and where we are, 9.10.
Material nature, which is one of my energy, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving being under its rule, that manifestation is created and highlighted again and again.
So Krishna's saying Maya by me. And then this second word, adyakshena, you can look at it in the word for word. Prabhupada's translated as by superintendents. So, but actually, if you break that word adyakshena up, there's aksha in there. Aksha means eyes. So actually, just by his eyes, aksha, just by his glancing over the prakriti, the material nature, then the souls are put into the material world, and then everything becomes manifest. So then the word suyate, it becomes manifest. So just by his eyes looking on the prakriti, it becomes manifest. Everything comes into motion. Before that, it was just dead matter. It was just a big pool of matter, and until Krishna looked at it. And as soon as Krishna looked over the matter, then it came to life. And everything came to life. And
if you look at that, you remember that Lord Rama, he touched that a little rock is become a Ahilya, the lady. You know the story of that?
Yeah, I think she was cursed. She was cursed to become a rock.
Yes.
So she was actually I think goddess, some devi or something, some goddess, and she was cursed. So I think she offended a sage or something like that, and then she was cursed to become a rock. And then she was also at the same time blessed that you'll be released from this curse when God comes. When God comes in the form of Ram,
How many years she been cursed, you know? How many thousands of years?
I can't remember, but it was a long time. Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Don't annoy sages.
No.
Don't annoy the sages.
Somebody told me that in a Kumbh is coming in January. Mahakumbh.
Yeah.
I'm planning to go there. I don't know. It says once in a lifetime you have a bath in the Ganges.
Yeah.
There's four places there, and there's spacious there. In telling about that, and then a check on the net. There 400 million people are expected 2025 January Kumbh. So 400 million is pretty much equal to Canada and America. So that much population. It's the world's largest gathering.
Yeah.
And the lot of Naga Baba and all comes that year. They don't know. Nobody knows where they come from and where they gone to.
Yeah.
So, and somebody said that it's like a demigod comes that as well in there, and then leave. Nobody knows that they are demigods.
Yeah.
And demigods comes to have a bath in Ganges on the Kumbh.
Yeah.
I said, is that right? Or you said, because you don't know where they're from, where they come, and where they vanish to.
Yeah.
With the bushes or whatever there in Mount Everest.
Make sure you respect everyone there, Gulshan. Don't joke around. Naga Baba
No.
Could be Indra or Brahma or Ganesh or something.
Naga Baba, Lord demigod comes that too. Somebody told me and I said, really? So I just really want to see, because there's a lot of police arrangements.
Go around.
You cannot touch them, because they Naga Baba, they're very angry. You cannot touch them. The police barricade them, and they're allowed to have a jump in that Ganges first.
Okay.
And then a lot of people, they're trying to touch the feet, but the police says no, don't go near them, because they don't like it. Because they're not from this loka, they're from different loka.
Well, not necessarily. I wouldn't say that. I mean, some people might exaggerate things. So not necessarily every Naga Baba is a demigod.
No, not every. Like some of them, out of that we cannot differentiate. But they say demigods are coming in that special day of that.
Just respect everyone, knowing that Krishna is within everyone's heart, and also every soul is part and parcel of Krishna.
They might come in a form where you don't know who it is.
I don't know, but look at the sages like that. What a lucky person! I wish if I can look at it. Like next month, I'm planning to in January. If I can just have a darshan for those sages, that's so auspicious. Once in a lifetime.
But even these people, even these people that wander into the bhakti tree, you don't know who they are. Could be
No.
some
They
could
can
be
become,
some demigod coming in to take darshan of Jagannath and have Jagannath Prasad.
yeah. There's
You don't know.
only two desire I have. That one is that to pulling the rope at the Jagannath Puris in July. There's a Rath
Yeah.
Yatra,
Yeah.
and the second is the bath in the Ganges and the Kumbh. These two things I really want to do before I depart.
Mm.
Well, let's see.
Mm.
Let's see if the Krishna gives them mercy.
Let's look at chapter 13. Text 28, and then for a few verses.
Which one on 13?
13th chapter, text 28, and then on to about 31 or something.
One who see the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and who understand that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible body is ever destroyed, actually sees.
So you got to see. What do you got to see? What this is real seeing. This is what real seeing is. What do you got to see? You got to see that the super soul is in everyone's heart and the individual soul's in everyone's heart, right? And then you got to see that neither the soul or the super soul is ever destroyed, right?
Yeah.
So this is what real seeing is. And okay, next one.
One who see the super soul equally present everywhere in every living being does not discredit himself by his mind. Thus he approaches the transcendental destination.
So
What
yeah,
is
it's
that?
very, if you don't see like this, it's a very destructive mentality. So it's saying you become degraded. But your mind, if you thinking, oh, this is a Kiwi, this is an Aussie, this is black, white, man, woman, ugly, pretty, whatever like that. This is a Christian, Hindu, Muslim. If you just see the external thing, then you become degraded by that. You become degraded by that, and sometimes you'll exploit others like that. And
If I see some customer in Bhakti tree, or if I see my Guru Maharaj, there is a difference. Means whether it's my eyes or my thinking, I can see with Radhanath Maharaj, it's different way. The look someone customer walk in the Bhakti tree. Would I able to look at both the same?
but
But
you
I
should
can't
respect both. But it's not that
respect both.
you
But
don't respect the
the way,
customer and you respect your
yeah,
guru.
but
So
then
you respect
in
everyone.
front of the Guru, you are different. You melt. It's like you cannot melt in front of the customer. From the Guru, you just like a danda, straight. You just cannot, you can't even see eyes to eye the Guru. Just like, but then it can't be same. Customer walk in there, I cannot see the same the way I always see the Radha Maharaj.
Yeah, so there's a little distinction there that you're seeing them as a representative of Krishna and you're obedient to their instructions and everything like that. So that's all very good. But generally we should see like this, that the super soul and part and parcel of Krishna, the individual souls within the heart of everyone. So you should respect everyone. Otherwise, if we don't, then we become degraded. So like if you mistreat any living entity, which is part and parcel of Krishna and also the super souls there, then we ourselves will become pushed down. We'll become pushed down because like if one child abuses another child, how will the father react?
Yes, it's reacts differently.
Like saying I'm the oldest child of my parents, and say one of my younger brothers is like retarded or something, handicapped or retarded. If I go and say, well, this child is useless, he's just retarded, let me beat him up or kill him. And if I ask my father's permission, Can I beat my handicapped brother up and like that? What will the father say? No, he's not going. He loves all of his children. The father loves all the children equally. It's not that he loves the intelligent one more than the handicapped one. Actually, what often happens is the father will give special care to the handicapped one because they're not able to look after themselves. So the parent might give special treatment and special protection to the handicapped one because and the example of that is like the cow, right? The cow can't look after itself because the human being is very intelligent. And if a human being goes to exploit the cow because he can control the cow, then Krishna is giving special protection to the cow. That human being is going to be killed as many times as there's a hair on the body of that cow. So that's massive punishment because it's like like a handicapped kid. They can't look after themselves, and the father will punish that other child very severely.
That applies that to be as a favoritism as well. You cannot be favorite to anyone. Like, well, when if my Guru Maharaj likes some kind of dish, if he comes to Bhakti tree, I'll do every possible thing to make that dish.
Yep.
But if any person walk in there, I'll just serve him whatever is in the buffet. So that's favoritism.
No, I'm just saying there's different levels of respect. I agree with you. There's different levels of respect, but always the respect should be there. Always the respect should be there. But yeah, there's some different levels how you treat your spiritual master to an ordinary living entity. But, we should still see that God is within the customer or within anyone, whoever they are, or even within the animal or whatever like that. We should see like that. And even sometimes, like if there's a criminal or something, and say the criminal, he has murdered someone, and the punishment for murdering is that he should be executed. He should be killed by the king. That was the system. But then you say, well, why? How can the king kill that criminal if he sees that the super soul, individual souls there, or whatever like that? But actually, that's respect. That is respect for the criminal. That is love. That is love for the criminal to kill the criminal, because he's going to suffer so much more in his next life if he's not killed. He's going to get really severely punished for murdering a human being. So it's actually mercy. It's actually mercy from the king to execute him, to kill him, corporal punishment, because then that's balancing that. He took a life, he gives his own life, so that's balancing that. If he doesn't die, then he suffers a lot more severely in the next life. So that's actually non-violence. That's actually non-violence to kill the murderer, for the king to kill the murderer. And it's actually violence to the murderer to not kill him. Does that make sense? He's going to suffer more if he's not killed.
Same as the soldier when in the battlefield, if he kills hundreds of them, it's just his duty.
Yeah, so you're not doing it because they're not doing it because they hate anyone. They're not doing it because I hate these people. They're just doing it as a duty like that. And if you do your duty, then actually those souls benefit. Like all those soldiers that got killed in the Battle of Kurukshetra, which is coming just after this Bhagavad Gita was spoken. Actually, this was spoken on Ekadasi. We celebrate that as Gita Jayanti, or Moksha Ekadasi comes in December, coming up soon. It's coming up very soon. Is it maybe 2 Ekadasis away? This Moksha Ekadasi, and so after the Ekadasi, this was spoken for a couple of hours. Then the battle started, and it said all those soldiers got liberated. 64 crores. 64 crores. So one crore is 10 million. 1 crore is 10 million. So 640 million people died.
Pretty much half of the India's population.
Yeah. In that 18 days. 18 days, 640 million, and they got liberated. So that's actually respect, you know, to follow the orders of God. Okay, your duty as a soldier is to kill these people, these demons. That's actually good for them. That's actually good for them. But that's the main way to see is just have that respect for all living entities. And
I often see when we're talking about people, maybe just serving people or people in general that you meet, and I often think it's like God's testing you a lot of the time. I always feel like that, you know, because you might get people come in and they look homeless or whatever, and they're weird, and they ask you 10 million questions, and I always think, well, this is just a test of my patience and tolerance, and to serve them in a nice way, or like the people that you see down the street, and they're like, you know, they might be homeless or whatever, but they're in trouble, and you know, do you walk past that person and pretend that they're just a lower type of person, or do you try and help them? And I always think it's like a test from God, like how much you're willing to actually see that person without all the exterior, you know, material stuff, and see them as just a soul, you know, that needs help. I always think it's a bit of a test, because you know, it happens quite a lot in our daily life, like especially living in a city or something, you know, where you sort of, you know, obviously if someone's dangerous and they're, you know, abusive or something, stay away from them. But I feel like it's a bit of a test, you know. And you never know who these people are. You don't know if they're demigods or anything, just to come and try and test you out, you know.
Yes.
See how much
it's
humanity
true that there is
you have.
one time,
you know?
One time in a bhakti tree, there's a one guy was asking too many questions, and like, you know, and I was just getting irritated, and I serve him, and then just leave it there. I didn't, you know, say much. And on the way out, you know what he said to me? He said, "Is that the way you're serving Krishna?" That's what he
What do
said
you
to me.
say? Is that the what?
He said, "Is that the way you're serving Krishna?" Yeah, I remember that. It was like 3-4 years ago. But he was
Wow.
very irritating, and I just served him, and I just neglected. Like I didn't talk much in there, because the question he was asking, that it's irrelevant, and I guess, so what annoying like person is that? And I just serve him, with that. And on the way out, he said, "Is that the way you serve Krishna?" And I just looked like that. It's opened my eyes.
Yeah.
I just, I was just like, I was shocked, and like, I just feel, you know, so low, and I don't know, nothing much can do. And then he just walk away. Before even I say sorry, but he walk away.
Yeah.
He was very annoying. Some customers are very annoying. Like, you know,
they are.
Yeah, Bhaktimala, you will know it. Once you doing that, you know, everyone is not a Krishna, honest to God.
But Lord Chaitanya himself taught the devotees how to behave.
How to tolerate.
Humble as the grass, tolerant as the tree, give all respect to others, and don't expect any respect in return. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name.
You mentioned that humble as a grass. This is equal to like a doormat. Doormat has got no choice. Grass is just had no choice. People walk in there, grass stand up or stay down. It just become a doormat. And then,
that's
hard. Do we want to become a doormat?
I mean, for Krishna's service, we can be a doormat for Krishna, yeah. But I'll go. One thing happened recently. Like, we've requested people to tell us one day before if they want a meal. So this group of 5 people turned up, and they wanted a meal. They were asking, could they get a meal? And they said, if you can't do it, no problem. We'll just camp here. So we hadn't actually prepared food because for that any people like that, because we didn't know anyone was coming. So the curry Jayanti had made, she always cooks too much, so there was quite a bit left over. So, but I said, no, we'll provide you food, And I made some rice and poppadoms and things like that. And we served them a meal. And then we have a visitor's book, and so this guy that was in charge of this group of 5 people, they were from France, and he specifically mentioned in the visitor's book, I was very touched that although we didn't give you any warning we were coming, but you especially prepared a meal for us. You went out of your way to do that, and he said, I'll remember that for a very long time, like that. So yeah, devotees for to help people to advance in Krishna consciousness, the devotees prepared to take on some difficulties, some austerities, like that, to help people. If it's going to help someone potentially become more Krishna conscious, we're prepared to, go through some difficulties, definitely like that. But yeah, I mean, we wouldn't let people take advantage of us for their sense gratification. But if we see that we can, what's that?
Because even if they do take advantage, Krishna knows, what you did and what the other person did, and he's the one doing the justice. You don't need to worry about it. So
that they might be doing the wrong thing, but as long as we do what's pleasing to Krishna, then it's no problem. It's no problem at all.
True.
And
that's hard, because you often want to, like, if somebody says some horrible words to you, you often want to retaliate, It's hard to.
Yeah, and sometimes that might be there also. Sometimes that might be there, but you just see, how are you going to respond? Is it pleasing to Krishna or not? That's what you have to look at.
Yeah.
How is you respond? Is it pleasing to Krishna or is it not? In some cases, responding to a violent person with violence might be pleasing to Krishna, or sometime responding to a violent person without reacting, and be passive might be pleasing to Krishna. So you just have to have that intelligence to know how to respond in different situations. So every scenario is going to be different. So you can't have a general rule. You can't say, okay, every time don't react if someone's crazy or whatever. But sometimes you might not. You just have to, depends on the different circumstances. And you just have to have enough Krishna consciousness and intelligence to know how to deal with different situations. And, like if someone asks me, can I get him a McDonald's burger? I'm not going to do it. But if someone, has an interest to have some prasadam, then I'll help them, even if it's difficult for me to organize that. Prabhupada said, he was amazing. He said, even if 50 people turn up at the temple without any warning, the temple should be able to give them nice prasadam. He said, sabji, puri, and I think he said sabji, puri, and halava to 50 people, anytime, any day, any time.
Yeah.
Sabji, puri, and halava to 50 people.
This happened every Sunday on New Gokula. Registered only 200, they got 450.
Yeah.
I say that every Sunday it happened, not 50, more than 100. Sometimes 200 people.
I know, but you expect that. You expect that because that's Sunday feast. Yeah, you expect that. But even unexpected, like on Tuesday night, if 50 people just turned up, we should be, do as much as we can, take on some difficulties to help them, in Krishna consciousness. So, I'm not saying we should just be a doormat for, so they trample on us for their sense gratification, but we're prepared to undergo some difficulties to help them become Krishna conscious. Oh, it was crazy. I heard Prabhupada say it on a lecture. I heard his words. He said, because there's a quote from his guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, where he says that every individual member of the Gaudiya Math must be prepared to spend 100 gallons of blood for every individual member of human society. That means, giving your blood means hard work, give your time, give your energy, give your time, your energy to helping them become Krishna conscious. So he said, every individual member of the Gaudiya Math, that's Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's organization, like Prabhupada's is ISKCON, his guru's organization was Gaudiya Math, so should be prepared to spend 100 gallons of blood. That's a lot of blood. So your time, your energy, everything. Prabhupada, then he said, I heard him say in this lecture, every member of ISKCON should be prepared to spend 100 tons of blood.
Oh,
100 tons of blood for every human, you know, to help them become Krishna conscious. 100 tons. So my taking half an hour to make some rice for them, I don't think that's too much. As Prabhupada said, you know, should be prepared to spend 100 tons of blood, you know. So I just used a few drops of blood, you know, to help make rice for 5 people. And, you know, so I should be prepared to do that, you know, it's no problem. And Prabhupada, look how many tons of blood he gave. He stayed up every night. He hardly slept. I mean, who would sacrifice their beauty sleep? But Prabhupada sacrificed his beauty sleep for us. And if I think how much he did for me and all of you, then yeah, what we're doing is not much, you know. So we can try and do
tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, he took so many risks to help us become Krishna conscious. It said when he was in the Bowery, when he first went to the New York, and he was in the Lower East Side of New York Bowery, he would have to walk over like drunken bums, you know, hippies that were, you know, had passed out in his doorway even. He had to walk over them to go in the, you know, to get out in the street. One time, one intoxicated, he stayed in a flat that was owned by this crazy hippie. And the hippie got so drunk one day on his drugs, intoxicated, that he ran after Prabhupada with a weapon. He ran after Prabhupada, and Prabhupada had to run out, and he had to leave his stuff behind in the flat. All of his possessions were back there, and he had to run out to save his life. Yeah. So how much blood Prabhupada, you know, passed for us to try to help us, you know. He left the best place in Vrindavan and went to the most horrible place in New York.
But
you know, just try to help us.
The Guru Maharaj says that,
yeah,
he just, you know, just say the Guru Maharaj to be, you know, distribute the word in the West for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's why he left.
Yeah.
So, so you know, he's just given a more preference to his Guru's word than Vrindavan.
Yeah, definitely.
You think he might have left after that incident, you know, after he got chased out of his place?
Yeah, but he didn't. Yeah, he didn't give up.
No.
But it doesn't mean that he wasn't finding it hard. He was. It said every week he would go back to the port, the dock where he landed, and he would look back towards India. He was feeling so much separation from Vrindavan, but he would look back, but then he wouldn't leave. he was just feeling separation, but he continued because he always remembered the order of his guru. And he said, I never felt for one moment that my guru was not with me. He always felt his guru was with him because he was following his guru's instructions. So he always felt.
He said all his disciples, they are my guru.
Yeah.
All his disciples.
Yeah.
Because he said it's arranged by my guru to help me to.
Yeah. He said my guru has sent all of you to help me to carry out his order. Therefore, you are my gurus. Yeah. Wow, that's just amazing. And Prabhupada's voice like choked up when he said that. He said, I'm so, you know, grateful to all of you, all the service you have done, you know. And all the devotees just were in ecstasy, completely in ecstasy. Prabhupada was just humility personified. Wow, amazing. And they would just do anything for Prabhupada. And Prabhupada would do anything for them. You know, it was real love between the devotees, you know, between Prabhupada and the devotees. They would do anything for each other. One time Prabhupada told his sannyasi godbrothers, he said, see this woman? Yeah. She cooks for me every day. It was Malati, Shyam Sundar's wife. She said, see this woman, Malati, she cooks for me every day. she would slit her throat for me. And I would slit my throat for her. And as soon as Malati heard that, she just collapsed. She just collapsed and burst into tears. You know, your guru was saying that he would slit his throat for you. Wow, that's amazing. How much you would work after that. You know, how much hard you would work for after that, you know. Hearing the commitment.
Because they didn't like the women serving him food either, did they? There was something around that.
Well, she was so embarrassed because she knew
Yeah.
it would be a cause of embarrassment for Prabhupada.
Yeah.
That got a woman cooking for a sannyasi is not the normal standard.
Yeah.
So she crawled into the room carrying the plate of food that she'd cooked. She crawled on her hands and knees with a sari pulled over her head. And then she just plonked the plate on the table and crawled back out the room. But before she got out, Prabhupada said, see, this woman cooks for me every day. So he wasn't embarrassed to tell the facts that she's cooking every day. And she would slit her throat for me. I would slit my throat for her. And then that was just too much for her. She just broke down in ecstasy like that. So yeah, that is the consciousness of the devotee, you know, just loves everyone. Loves everyone. Of course, someone is rendering service, you know, you love them even more. Because that's, you know, love is different degrees of love. So this is the vision we're reading about here in the 13th chapter, that, you know, you love everyone. And but then that love will have different degrees, like what Gulshan said. Okay, so you love the spiritual master the most, you know, even more. But you still love everyone. Like one time, Prabhupada was on a morning walk. He's talking with devotees, talking with parents of devotees, talking with, you know, just the strangers and everything that were on the morning walk. And Prabhupada dealt with everyone so wonderfully. And after the morning walk, the disciple said to Prabhupada, he said, Prabhupada, everyone loves you. And Prabhupada said, yes, because I love everyone. So that's how it works. You know, everyone loves Prabhupada. Why? Because he loves everyone. So this is natural. Yeah, let's read a little bit more. This is an interesting section. So, yeah, text 30, so 1330.
The one who can see that all the activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees.
So what does that mean?
From that 28, 29, and 30.
Yeah, so what do you think that means? So what it means is, you know, the soul's in the heart, right? We're 1/10,000th the thickness of a hair in size. What are we doing actually? Are you lifting your hand and are you lifting your hand and coughing and moving your leg and walking somewhere? Actually, no. Actually, the material nature is moving your hands and your legs and your head, and your eyes are blinking, and you're coughing and you're eating and passing urine and everything. That's all done by the modes of material nature. All you're doing as the soul is you're desiring. So you're desiring, you know, I want to have this kind of body or that kind of body, and material nature is organizing that. And then when you've got the body, then everything is arranged by the material nature, and then you're just desiring. That's all you're doing. I desire to serve Krishna, or I desire to become Krishna. So that's these kind of choices we're making. And then when you make that choice, then material nature does the rest. The super soul and material nature will make all the arrangements, how you can serve Krishna or how you can try to imitate Krishna.
Serve the body. You serve the body or serve the Krishna?
Yeah. So like that's all we really have control over is what we desire. But you don't have control over your hands or your legs or your eyes blinking or anything working or not working. You know, you can see or you can't see, or you can hear or you can't hear.
What's the free will? The free
will.
Yeah,
free will is what you desire. That's what you desire. And as soon as you make the desire, then material nature makes the arrangement for that. You know, depending on what karma you have. Say you desire to get a new car. So if you have some good karma, you might get a Ferrari. And if you have some bad karma, you might get a broken down old 1980 Toyota Corolla. You know, so but you'll both get a car. you know, but according to your desire and your karma, then you'll get something arranged by the material nature. So, but yeah, so everything's actually, so that's real seeing, to see that everything we're seeing, the living entities are moving around and acting in different ways, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. This is all just arranged by the material nature under the direction of Krishna. And that's real seeing, to see that it's just the modes of nature acting. So someone's acting like a demon and someone's acting like a demigod. It's all the material nature is doing everything. Someone is strong, someone is weak, someone is pretty, someone is ugly, like that. Someone's young, someone's old. This is just the modes of material nature working. But actually the soul is completely separate from all of that. We're completely separate from everything. You know,
it's so bizarre. Every time I hear it, it sort of just blows my mind a bit.
Yeah.
You know, that you're not doing the things that you think you're doing, that the demigods are moving everything. Like, it's just a bizarre sort of, like, you can hear it, but to realize
but you do use your free will. According to free will, it works.
Yeah.
So directly or indirectly, you're doing some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you desire to walk from A to B, and then material nature and the super soul will carry that out. But you see, you think you're walking, but you missed one important part of the equation. The important part of the equation is that you missed out is that, okay, you desire to walk from A to B, from Vine Street to Bhakti Tree on Maitland Road. You desire to walk there, and you think you walk there, but you missed out one important point, which was that the super soul in the heart and the demigods and who are controlling material nature, they arranged it all. They arranged it all to fulfill your desire. But what happened, like due to your bad karma, your legs don't work. So your legs don't work. Because, I mean, we take it for granted, right, that we can walk, but some people can't walk. What do you call that? You know, you call that like handicapped, lame. We call that lame, right? We take it for granted that we can see, but some people can't see. What do you call that? Blind. We take it for granted you can hear, but not everyone can hear. What do you call that? Deaf. Like that. So we take it for granted that we're controlling the body, but actually we're not. We're helpless. At any time, they could just, okay, take away your ears, your hearing, take away your sight, take away your, legs moving. It can just be taken away. So the point is that we're not in control. We're helpless. We're helpless. So yeah, it's a different way of seeing things.
Yeah.
Different way of seeing things. So yeah, you do have something to do with it, but you're not the whole part of the equation. You desired to walk there or go to the temple or whatever, but the actual activities happening, it's not controlled by you. It's controlled by the super soul and the demigods that control the body like that. So it's we're helpless.
And that sort of explains why some people are better at other things than others, Like I was just, because I always break things at the Bhakti Tree, and I broke something today, and Brett was always like, oh, you just break so many things here. And I said, oh, well, growing up, they used to call me Unko. Or my brothers used to call me Unko because I couldn't walk 2 steps without falling over. And the rest of my family are like sports people, and they're really physically, they're like, they can do all types of sports. And I just never could because I was so uncoordinated. Like, would that be?
You know what? Because you're designed for bhakti. That's why.
Is that because you're karma as well? Like,
not being. No, it's, the karma is in here as well. Yeah, the karma is in here as well. Yeah. And like Gulshan's saying, Krishna had other plans for you. He didn't plan for you to be a sportsman. He planned for you to surrender He planned for you to surrender to Jagannath.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like the black.
as-
I was like the black sheep, you know, because I wasn't good at
yeah,
all
but
these things.
but you are become a white sheep because you're serving the roots of the tree.
Yeah.
You know, the Krishna,
Yeah.
and then other people are serving the leaves and all that. So who's the great? The person who's serving the roots, which is you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it has a happy ending. Happy ending
Yeah.
of the story.
That's right.
You've
That's
come
right.
to Krishna's lotus feet. Come to
Yep.
his lotus feet. Okay, let's just read one more of this section.
Sure. Are you reading Bhaktimala?
Oh, you can read.
Yeah. Are you reading the purport?
31. No, text 31.
31. Oh, okay.
So Bhakti Mala read 30. You can read 31.
Oh, did I?
I
Or
read
anyone.
30.
Anyone. Got it?
Okay. When a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere, he attains to the Brahman conception.
So this is spiritual vision. What's spiritual vision? Spiritual vision is seeing how, well, let's read the beginning of the purport. When one can see that the various bodies of the living entities arise due to the different desires of the individual soul and do not actually belong to the soul itself, one actually sees. So this is real seeing, to see that these different bodies are there because of the different desires. I was hearing the other day, Prabhupada said, he said, do you know why there's 8,400,000 species of life? He said, because the soul has 8,400,000 different desires. That's why there's 8,400,000 forms, species, because the soul has all those different desires, 8,400,000 different desires. You know, you desire to fly in the sky, okay, you get the body of a bird. You desire to run very fast, you know, get the body of like my Kelpie dog. You know, you desire to swim in the water, okay, get the body of a
But then,
fish.
I don't think so. Who can desire for become a dung beetle?
A what? A what?
It's
A
one
dung
of the
beetle.
species too.
Dung beetle.
Who's
Yeah.
gonna desire
A
that? It's
dung
one of the
beetle.
species too.
Yeah, but no, but there are, I mean, I'll tell you what, did you know that there are societies, like I know Japan is doing it, I think some others are also doing, where they're working out, and they actually started doing this in World War II, how they could process human stool in such a way that we can eat it. And there are actually people that they even pay money to eat, you know, human stool like that. It's
Really?
sort of packaged up like a sausage or whatever it is, your patty or whatever like that, but it's actually just human poo, and people eat it. So, well, Mother Nature's seeing and the super soul's seeing, okay, you're eating stool, okay, next life you become a dung beetle and just living in the shit, as they say.
Look at the Bhakti Mala's face.
That's incredible, yeah.
That's disgusting.
I know, that's a fact, you know. So, and Prabhupada said, you know, people that eat without any discrimination, so they don't have any discrimination. You see people eat like a pig, right? So in the next life, they become a pig. They don't consider what should be eaten, what should not be eaten. Anything you put in front of some people, they'll just stuff it in their mouth. They don't think, is it right or wrong or anything. They'll just stuff it in their mouth. So next life, you become a pig or a dung beetle and just eat stool. Just eat stool like that. So yeah, even the desires can lead to, you know, all those different species. But like it's saying here, but that the soul is completely separate from that. So that's the desire of the soul, but that's not the soul. Does that make sense? Like Prabhupada said. when one actually sees the various bodies of the living entities arise due to the different desires of the individual soul, and not to, and do not actually belong to the soul itself, one actually sees. So it's the desire of the soul, but it's not the soul. So the desire of the soul and the soul is different, is separate. So actually the soul is not affected. The soul's not affected by all these different bodies we get due to our desires. So someone gets the body of a demon, someone gets the body of a demigod, someone gets the body of an animal, someone the body of a plant, the body of a bird, the body of a fish. That's just due to the different desires, but the soul is always separate from that. The soul's not contaminated, not affected by all those bodies that one gets due to the different desires. So one should always just see that soul, that unchanging transcendental soul, and that's the next verse is telling that. To have that vision, to see the soul, there's a pure soul there. Within that body of the dung beetle is a pure soul. Within that body of a pig, there's a pure soul there. So don't just see the body of the pig and the dung beetle, you should see the soul. That's the idea. Have that philosophical, not that you're actually going, not actually that necessarily you're going to see the soul inside the dung beetle, but philosophically you have to see. So you have to see with knowledge. That's why they call it jnana chakshusha. Chakshusha means eyes, and jnana means knowledge. So you have to see with the eyes of knowledge, or shastra chakshusha. So that means the eyes of scripture. So you have to see with the eyes of scriptural knowledge things in truth and reality. So what's the reality is that there's a pure soul within that dung beetle. So don't just see the dung beetle and think, ooh, that's disgusting. But no, you got to see there's a part and parcel of Krishna there. So we can finish off with this one, 32.
Those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled.
That's far out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very.
Despite the contact with the material body, the soul neither does anything, nor is it entangled. We should think about these things. These things are very important. It's very important. The soul's transcendental. We're not affected by anything in this material world. By the happiness, by the suffering, by, calamities, natural disasters, by the body getting old or sick or dying or anything like that, by rebirth, like that, by enemies attacking with weapons or
So including the praise and insult.
Yeah, praise or insult. This is just so all these influences are just influencing the body or the mind. Like if you get insulted, it's just affecting your mind, but you're not the mind. And if someone hacks your arm off with a sword, that's affected your body, like that. So, but you can affect the body, you can affect the mind, but you can't do anything to the soul. Like Krishna says in the second chapter, the soul cannot be cut by weapons, burnt by fire, withered by the wind, drowned in the water. You can't do anything to the soul. The soul's eternal, it's invincible, immortal, imperishable, transcendental, beyond the modes of material nature. Like that.
It's interesting because in just normal life, when people go through really hard things, they'll say, that was soul destroying, and some things I've been through my life, it feels like it leaves an imprint, and a lot of people think it is on this. Like I used to think it was on the soul, that it would leave that sort of, because some things are soul that feel soul destroying, but is that just the imprint it leaves on your mind or your?
Yeah, it's just on the mind. It's impressions on the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, these things, they can influence your desires. So that's what it's It's influencing your desires, but like it's pointing out here, the desires and the soul are different. There's a difference between what the soul desires and the soul. So these, you know, negative things that happen or whatever in the world, that's, you know, maybe influencing your next desires, but still those desires are separate from the soul itself. And those desires can be changed. Those desires can be changed. But the soul doesn't change.
What about like intuition and things like that? Does that come from the soul? Is that, you know, when people talk about, you know, their higher self and things like that, and what their intuition tells them and things like that? Like, doesn't that have to be like learnt sort of wisdom that comes from the soul?
Well, the real intuition is the super soul talking to us.
Yeah.
But as it says in Gulshan's favorite verse 10:10, that Krishna only talks to people who are serving him constantly with love. So only if you have those two criteria of serving constantly with love, then he talks to you. He says, give you the understanding by which you can come to me. So that's the voice of the super soul if you have those two criteria. But if you hear some voices and you're not doing that, then that could well be your mind talking to you, or it could be your intelligence, because there's three different voices. There's the mind, then there's the intelligence, and then there's the super soul, like that. So you might be thinking it's intuition, meaning coming from God, but it might just be coming from your mind. So you have to be careful. So therefore, a devotee should just check. So I had this inspiration, intuition, and just talk to the spiritual master or talk to some other devotees and just say, I had this idea. What do you think about that? And they might say, yeah, that's brilliant. That must be Krishna's arrangement. Or they might think that's complete Maya. You know, don't do that. You know, so you should always check what you think your intuition is letting you know. And I remember when I was very young, in my mid-teens maybe, or even younger than that, maybe even younger than that, I think, early teens, I saw my father shoot a cow with a gun at our house. And I had a feeling in my heart, this is wrong. It was just so strong in my heart. This is wrong. So who was telling me that, you know, because I didn't have that kind of intelligence or anything like that. So, I mean, that could well have been the super soul just telling me, you know, this is wrong. Because the super soul is giving direction. The super soul is giving direction to the living entities. But often we don't listen to his direction. That's the problem. We don't listen to his direction. We ignore his direction. But yeah, that's part of his role as the super soul. What is the super soul doing? The super soul's role is to give us direction. I was just saying, Gulshanda, what's the role of the super soul? Is to give direction to the living entities, because we're completely helpless, like what we've been reading here. We can't do anything in the material world. So the only way we can function in the material world, Krishna has to make all the arrangements. So we can read that 1861. We can't do anything without him.
The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and directing the wandering of all the living entity who are seated on a machine, which is a material energy, made of the material energy.
So the body's like a machine, and we're just the passenger. We're just a helpless passenger, and Krishna's the driver. Just like Krishna was driving the chariot for Arjuna. So, you know, Krishna's driving this body, you know. Without him there, the machine wouldn't move. The machine wouldn't move without him being there. He's giving direction to us. Ramayan means causing to travel. So yeah, he's driving this machine. He's causing it to travel. We couldn't do anything without him. I couldn't even scratch my nose without Krishna helping me like that. So this is real seeing, to see that how Krishna's making all these arrangements according to our desires. Of course, I desired to scratch my nose, but the actual scratching of the nose is done with the help of Krishna and the demigods and material nature like that. So yeah, there's a bit more to the process than what we ordinarily think. We think, oh, I'm scratching my nose, but no, there's more involved. It's a bit more complicated than you just scratching your nose. There's the super soul there is giving permission and making that arrangement. And the demigods, there's a demigod in charge of your hand, a demigod in charge of your eyes, your nose, everything, the mouth. Even your the knowledge that you have. There's a demigod, Saraswati. Gulshan would know that. So Saraswati is in charge of all your ability to learn things. Someone is very intelligent, someone's a bit dumb, you know. So Saraswati is giving more knowledge to one person and less to someone else, depending on their karma and everything like that. So yeah, we're not actually doing a lot other than desiring. Yeah. Actually, it's said until the soul becomes awakened to Krishna consciousness, is almost like completely asleep. It's almost like completely asleep. That's why when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would walk with his associates chanting loudly through the towns in the early mornings, they would say like, Jeev Jago, Gora Chandra Bole, Kota Nidra Jayo Maya, Pisachia Kole. What that means is, wake up, sleeping soul, wake up, sleeping soul. You're asleep in the lap of the witch called Maya, Pisachia. Pisacha. You're asleep in the lap of the witch called Maya. Just chant the names of the Lord. Just chant the names of the Lord. Wake up. Like that. So we're like asleep. We're not doing very much at all. The soul is really not doing much. We just have some desires, and then in our dreaming, because in your dream, right, you desire so many things. So like we have these desires, and then Krishna's making the arrangements and the different demigods. Time's nearly up. Okay, let's. I didn't let you get very far with the purport. Let's read today's purport. Text 696.
You want me to read, or Bhaktiman, are you reading?
Yeah, no, you read, Gulshan. I'm a bit tired.
She just read the first sentence.
Yeah.
For the ordinary person, it is almost inconceivable how the huge material creation is resting in him. But the Lord giving an example which may help us to understand, the sky may be the biggest manifestation we can conceive, and in the sky, the wind or air is the biggest manifestation in the cosmic world. The movement of the air influences the movement of the everything. But although the wind is great, it is still situated within the sky. The wind is not beyond the sky. Similarly, all the wonderful cosmic manifestations are existing by the supreme will of God, and all of them are subordinate to the supreme will. As we generally say, not a blade of grass move without the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, everything is moving under his will. By his will, everything is being created, everything is being maintained and everything is being annihilated. Still, he is aloof from everything, as the sky is always aloof from the activities of wind. In the Upanishad, it states that Yat Pisavat Pavet. It is out of the fear of the Supreme Lord that the wind is blowing. The Brahad Anhaya Upanishad 389 is stated
No
by
need
the
to read that,
Supreme
just read the English. Yeah.
by the Supreme Order under the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The moon, the sun, and the other great planets are moving. In the Brahma Samhita also it is cited. This is a description of the movement of the sun. It is said that the sun is considered to be one of the eye of the Supreme Lord, and that it has immense potency to diffuse heat and light. Still, it is moving in its prescribed orbit by the order and the supreme will of Govinda. So, from the Vedic literature, we can find evidence that this material manifestation, which appears to be us to be very wonderful and great, it is under the complete control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This will be further explained in the later verse of this chapter.
So that's the main point, that we're completely under the control of the Lord. So what should we do? We should surrender. Hands up.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So whether we like it or not, we're under his control. So we should just accept that. We shouldn't fight that. If we try to fight his being in control, that doesn't do anything. He's completely in control of everyone, even the demons. He's completely in control of them, but they think they're in control. But that's the Maya. The Maya is thinking that we're not under God's control, but the reality is that we're always under his control. And it's not that we're under his control just in the spiritual world, but even in the material world, we're still under his control. But here we don't accept that. We're under an illusion, thinking that we're in control. So Bhakti Yoga is coming to terms with that, learning to be happy with that fact that everything's under his control. And that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. If you're under the control of an evil person, yeah, that's pretty bad. But if you're under the control of someone like Krishna, who loves us, like we were just talking about, how much love Prabhupada had for the disciples. So Krishna's like that too. Krishna's like that too. He loves everyone. So if you're under the control of a loving person, that's very, very fortunate. You're very fortunate to be under the control of someone that loves you. And it's not that we're under the control of an evil person. Yeah, so God is all good. So yeah, we should come to terms with that and just do what he wants, accept his control, and then life becomes very wonderful. Very wonderful. Anyone want to say anything?
All good.
Good. Very happy to hear, Gulshan, that your travels are working out well. And
yeah, hopefully next week will be somewhere else. I'll find out.
Yes.
You're going to do the Great Ocean Road, Gulshan?
No, that's not my cup of tea. Wherever the Krishna is the Krishna's desire. Jagannath desired me to go, I'll go.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I'll probably go to the Krishna Valley.
Yeah.
Next week. We'll see. Yeah. I can go there too.
Yeah, it's really nice, the Great Ocean Road, if you get time.
And don't stress out the bhakti tree. Sometimes the evenings are so busy. Just you can do whatever you can. That's it. Don't stress it out. Sometimes it's a nerve wracking, but don't take it personal, because you can't serve all the customers at the same time. Because it's a stressful job sometimes. I know I've done that for 7 years. So just I don't give it advice. I give it an opinion. My opinion is to be.
I'm not going to be there that much, to be honest. They've got other people there.
So. Okay. Whatever the time you be there, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Just has a
It
chill
can
pill.
get really stressful when, yeah.
I know.
You feel.
I know. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
It's
Hey,
all right.
Gulshan, you should do some of the pranayama to try to kick out this
Yeah,
bug
I
in your
think I should.
lungs here.
Yeah,
Some of the basti and kapalbhati in that.
Kapalbhati and Anlom Vilom. Yeah.
Yeah, that will help you. Okay,
Oh,
lovely to see you
Hare
both. Take
Krishna.
care. Hare
Mm,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Can I just speak to you for a minute?
Yeah,
or
sure,
pop-
sure, Bhaktimala. Yeah, I took
Oh,
the
he's gone.
recording. I stopped recording.
Oh no, it says he's still recording.
Yeah, I will.